The night Shen Yue died, it was snowing. She knelt alone in the middle of the imperial courtyard, her white wedding robes soaked crimson from the blood running down her forehead. In front of her stood the man she had loved for 7 years, the emperor, and beside him stood the woman who had once called her sister, her younger cousin, Shen Ruyan. "Your Majesty," Ruyan whispered, tears sliding down her beautiful face, "I never wanted this. But the evidence is undeniable." She held up a letter bearing Shen Yue's seal, a letter supposedly proving that Shen Yue had secretly contacted the enemy kingdom and planned to assassinate the emperor. The ministers bowed their heads. The servants whispered, even the guards looked at her with disgust. Shen Yue stared at the emperor. "Do you believe this?" The emperor Xiao Jinghan looked at her for a long moment. His expression was colder than the winter wind. "I wanted to believe you," her heart shattered. "So you don't?" He slowly turned away. "You have committed treason." Shen Yue laughed, not because anything was funny, but because she suddenly understood. For 7 years she had protected this man. She had given him military strategies. She had secretly paid for his army when the treasury was empty. She had taken the blame when his younger brother tried to assassinate him. When his mother hated her, she endured it. When the court called her a barren woman because she had not given birth to an heir, she remained silent. When the emperor fell ill, she personally stayed beside his bed for 12 nights. And now he was sentencing her to death because of a single letter. She slowly stood. "Then kill me." The emperor's fingers tightened. Shen Ruyan's lips curved almost invisibly. Shen Yue saw it, that tiny smile, the smile of someone who had already won. The emperor raised his hand. "Take her to the execution ground at dawn." Shen Yue stared at him. "Jinghan?" It was the first time she had called him by his name in front of the court. The emperor paused. She smiled sadly. "When you realize the truth," she looked directly at Shen Ruyan, "it will already be too late." The executioner's blade fell, and Shen Yue opened her eyes. She was lying in a familiar room, a red canopy hung above her. Candles burned beside the bed. Outside, someone was playing a wedding melody. Shen Yue sat upright, her breathing stopped. She looked down. She was wearing the same red wedding dress she had worn 7 years ago. A servant rushed into the room. "Your Highness, why are you awake? The wedding ceremony is about to begin." Shen Yue stared at her. "What year is it?" The servant looked confused. "It is the 3rd year of the Yong'an era." The cup in Shen Yue's hand slipped from her fingers. It shattered on the floor. 3rd year of Yong'an, 7 years before her death. She had returned to the past. She had been reborn. For several moments Shen Yue simply sat there, then she slowly walked toward the bronze mirror. A young woman stared back at her, 20 years old, beautiful, alive, no scars, no exhaustion, no hatred. This was Shen Yue before everything went wrong, before she became empress, before she trusted the wrong people, before she sacrificed everything for a man who would eventually kill her. Her hands trembled, then she smiled, but this time there was no warmth in that smile. "God really gave me another chance." She touched her reflection. "Then I won't make the same mistakes." 7 years ago, Shen Yue had believed marriage meant love. She had been wrong. Her wedding that day was not born from romance. It was a political arrangement between the Shen family and Prince Xiao Jinghan. At that time, Xiao Jinghan was only the 3rd prince. He had no powerful supporters, no military influence, no chance of becoming emperor. Shen Yue's grandfather was the country's greatest general, and marrying his granddaughter to Xiao Jinghan gave the prince access to the Shen family's influence. In her previous life, Shen Yue had fallen deeply in love with him. She had helped him rise. She had even persuaded her grandfather to support him. But after Xiao Jinghan became emperor, everything changed. He became suspicious of the Shen family. His mother constantly whispered that the Shen family had too much military power. And Shen Ruyan, she slowly entered his heart. Shen Ruyan had always been gentle, sweet, fragile. Everyone loved her. In her previous life, Shen Yue had considered her a younger sister. She had protected her. She had even given her the finest jewelry in the palace. She had never imagined that the same woman would eventually destroy her. But now Shen Yue knew everything. She knew which ministers would betray her, which servants were spies, which military generals would switch sides, which merchant would secretly fund the rebellion, and most importantly, she knew exactly who had murdered her grandfather. The wedding ceremony began. Shen Yue walked into the palace hall. Across the room stood Xiao Jinghan, young, handsome, still pretending to be a harmless 3rd prince. He looked at Shen Yue. For a moment their eyes met. In her previous life she had felt her heart race. Now she felt nothing. She lowered her gaze. The ceremony continued. Afterward, Shen Yue was taken to the prince's residence. That night Xiao Jinghan entered their room. He removed his ceremonial crown and looked at her. You don't seem happy, Shen Yue poured tea. I am simply tired. He sat across from her. You know why I agreed to this marriage? To gain my family's support. He looked surprised. In her previous life she had never spoken so directly. Shen Yue smiled. Don't worry, I won't interfere with your ambitions. Xiao Jinghan studied her. And what do you want? Shen Yue lifted her eyes. Freedom. His brows furrowed. Freedom? Yes. She placed the teacup down. You pursue your throne, and I will pursue my own life. Xiao Jinghan didn't know what to say, because the woman sitting before him was not the innocent girl he remembered. Something had changed, but he couldn't understand what. 3 months later, the first disaster arrived. In her previous life, this was the moment when Xiao Jinghan's army ran out of supplies, his enemies attacked. His soldiers were starving. Shen Yue had secretly convinced her grandfather to send military provisions. That single action had saved Xiao Jinghan's army. This time, she did nothing. Instead, she quietly bought grain, not for Xiao Jinghan, for herself. She purchased warehouses across 3 provinces. Then she invested in salt, silk, medicine, tea, shipping. She used the money she had inherited from her mother and built an enormous private fortune. When her maid asked why she was suddenly interested in business, Shen Yue simply smiled. Because I learned something in my last life. What? A woman should never let her survival depend on someone else's affection. Meanwhile, Xiao Jinghan's situation became worse. His military advisor rushed into his study. Your Highness, the army is running out of food. Xiao Jinghan slammed his hand against the table. How long? 10 days. Can the Shen family help? The advisor hesitated. They haven't sent anything? Xiao Jinghan froze. The Shen family had always supported him. Why had they suddenly stopped? He immediately went to see Shen Yue. She was sitting in her courtyard reading a book. Why haven't you asked your grandfather to send provisions? Shen Yue didn't look up. I didn't know you needed them. You know exactly what is happening. Then why did you come to me? His expression darkened. Because you are my wife. She finally looked at him. Your wife? Yes. Does that mean I am responsible for financing your army? No. Then what do you want? Xiao Jinghan fell silent. Shen Yue closed her book. In my previous life, she almost said it but stopped. She looked at him calmly. You have your own path. I have mine. Xiao Jinghan stared at her. For the first time, he realized something terrifying. He might actually lose her. The war ended differently. Xiao Jinghan survived, but he barely won. Without Shen Yue's support, his reputation suffered. Another prince began gaining influence. The emperor became suspicious of Xiao Jinghan, and the Shen family remained completely neutral. Shen Yue watched everything from a distance. She did not interfere, she did not save him, she did not betray him either. She simply watched. Then one evening Shen Ruyan came to visit. She entered Shen Yue's courtyard wearing a pale blue dress. Sister, Shen Yue smiled. Ruyan, Shen Ruyan sat beside her. You've changed. So have you. Ruyan's expression stiffened. What do you mean? Nothing. Shen Yue poured her tea. Ruyan smiled again. I heard His Highness has been having difficulties lately. Yes, you should help him. Shen Yue looked at her. Why? Because you're his wife. There it was. The same sentence, the same manipulation, the same beginning. In her previous life, Shen Yue had listened to Ruyan. She had helped Xiao Jinghan, and Ruyan had used every favor to slowly get closer to him. But this time, Shen Yue leaned closer. Ruyan, yes, do you love him? Ruyan froze only for half a second, but Shen Yue saw it. Then Ruyan laughed. What are you talking about? I asked a simple question. Ruyan lowered her eyes. No, Shen Yue smiled. Good, why? Because if you did, her voice became strangely cold. I would have to consider you my enemy. Ruyan's face went pale. For the first time she realized that Shen Yue might know something. Months passed. Shen Yue continued building her wealth. She bought a small tea company, then a silk workshop, then a medical supply business. She secretly hired former soldiers who had been discarded after the war. She built a network of loyal people. She even purchased a mansion outside the capital. Everyone thought she was simply wasting her time. But Shen Yue knew something they didn't. In her previous life, the empire would soon face a devastating famine. The royal treasury would collapse. Food prices would rise, thousands would die. The person who controlled the grain warehouses would control the capital. So Shen Yue bought grain, all of it. When the famine arrived, everyone came begging, merchants, nobles, officials. Even the royal family, but Shen Yue didn't raise her prices. Instead, she opened her warehouses. Anyone can buy grain, a minister asked. At what price? Shen Yue replied, 1 copper coin per sack. The minister stared. You'll lose everything? Shen Yue smiled. No, I'll gain something much more valuable. What? People's loyalty. And she was right. Within months, ordinary citizens began calling her the Lady of Mercy. The same woman who had once been hated by the court was now beloved by the people. Meanwhile, Shen Ruyan's plans began to collapse. She had expected Shen Yue to remain weak. Instead, Shen Yue had become untouchable. Ruyan secretly approached Xiao Jinghan. You cannot allow her to gain so much influence. He frowned. She is helping the people. She is buying their loyalty. Isn't that a good thing? Ruyan hesitated. She is building power. Xiao Jinghan looked at her. And why does that concern you? Ruyan's heart skipped. She forced a smile. I only worry about you. But Xiao Jinghan was no fool. For the first time he began questioning Ruyan. Then came the night that changed everything. Shen Yue received a secret letter. The message contained only 6 words, your grandfather will die tomorrow. Her heart stopped. In her previous life, her grandfather had died 6 months later. He had been poisoned during a military banquet. Everyone had believed it was an illness. But Shen Yue now knew the truth.
Subscribe for part 2.